This is the Sanyo CPP2910TX 29-inch curved CRT television. It was made in 1990. We know this due to the fact that the service manual indicates this date. In fact, the service manual came from our good friends at Electro Tanya. It just so happens to be that the service manual is specifically for this Australian model. I can appreciate the service manual's second page. It has a installation and service adjustment diagram, instantly showing you that it has pots for vertical size adjustment, vertical center adjustment, linearity, horizontal. So quite a few adjustments available. Nice that the manual shows you that straight away. It's possible to do, and we'll see that when we go inside, no doubt. We're missing the flap on the front. Typical fare. Now that's AV1, that's marked, that composite input with stereo left and right, and the headphone jack. A few other buttons to control the television, luckily because we do not have the remote to operate this TV. About this time, it must have been popular to put round feet on the bottom of televisions, I think. Same with hi-fi gear. Fair old speakers on the sides, carry handle. The Sanyo was pulled out of the bin and it had its cord cut off. So I did a little working bee and put a new cord on. Our label, hopefully not drowned out by the sun, looks like it almost is. There's the model number, service reference, made in Japan. Color system PAL. As the service manual indicated, its PAL probably doesn't do NTSC as far as color reproduction is concerned. Hopefully it holds a 60 Hz picture though through RGB, and that leads us to the SCART here. As also aforementioned, the SCART is cenelec standard, so it should take RGB no problem. Audio out left and right. The television has amplification for external speakers. It can be connected to those speaker terminals, and there's a switch to indicate whether you want sound internally or externally. Now that SCART's labelled AV1, and the front was labelled as AV1, so I think that SCART and the front RCAs will be both shared. Probably won't be able to run two appliances simultaneously. Then we have an AV2 with S-video as well and RF, so an okay selection of signals, something you wouldn't scoff back at in 1990, that is for sure. Oh, we're open and the tube is Panasonic. M68, supposedly monitor grade. M68 JUA23X, made in Japan. The speakers almost came out. They don't move. They don't retract and go in or out, but now that the back cover's off, they can easily come out in addition to that back cover coming off. Still attached with their wires, obviously. Quite dusty inside. The pots, trimmers, etc. are visible in the chassis. That one there is that one just sort of in front of my fingertip, yeah, right at center of screen, is a width adjustment of some sort, and they seem to be labelled with what they can do. They're all over the place, and it make it a little bit hard to adjust while the machine's on, while the television's on, and you want to avoid getting electrocuted, but at the same time you've got to poke your hand right in the center. It's not like those adjustments are out on the edge where they're nice and easily accessible, but at least it does have those pots to adjust that we saw in the service manual before. This television could go at any time, so I'm happy at least we've got some footage to begin with. Picture was dark when I turned it on, already in colour, and it's white. It's gone whiter now. It's quite blurry around the edges. The television does have an on-screen display, as you can see. You can see channel 1 and there's mono. It's hard to read. I can change inputs and get a much more static screen. Can make some picture adjustments. The brightness was nearly maximised. I could see a grey raster, so I've turned it down enough to get a black raster. Colour, brightness, contrast, V-ton, not sure what that is signifying in picture adjustments. So there's your picture ones, then there's your sound, very quick to respond from the button pushes. else have we got? Oh yes, I can push TV video to go to AV2. So back to RF, AV1 and AV2. So what I've got is the Sega Saturn hooked in, ready to turn on in composite video. This will be a test for it, for the TV. Right, so we saw earlier in the service manual that this thing's PAL only, according to that service manual. It doesn't mention anything about NTSC playback. At least it's holding the 60 Hertz. It's not rolling. So that's a good sign for RGB, that it'll hold that 60 Hertz. Plus we'll get the color from RGB goodness. I don't think there's any, if I go to picture, there's no tint that's been added to that menu like there often is on NTSC settings. I'll just change it over to S-Video just to confirm that there's no differences. S-Video on the Saturn, perhaps a little cleaner, still no color. Let's go straight to RGB. Might do some Super Famicom, might do some Sega Saturn. Some interesting observations. Saturn has its SCART cable hooked in to the TV. What I'll do is I'll change over to RF antenna, turn the Saturn on. Auto switching, not unusual for SCART. A very dark picture, however. Very dark, regardless of turning the brightness up. Still dark. Also, once the Saturn's on via this SCART cable, there's no getting out of this channel. I can push TV video, it's not toggling through the inputs and back to the snow aerial. It's locked on, you're not getting out of this while that Saturn's turned on. It overrides everything. Interesting, I'll experiment around a bit more. I'll go and see what other cables I've got for the Saturn. This is an NTSC Saturn, of course. Perhaps it doesn't like the fact that it is a NTSC signal somewhat, but I'll keep experimenting. Different SCART cable, same problem, still dark. Let's go to a different console. Let's go to the Super Famicom. Super Famicom obviously on now with Super Mario World. Still dark. Still quite dark. Nice looking picture, but still dark. So I think the best course of action is to put something PAL on to see where we're at. Let's go with PAL Super Nintendo. We could go either Composite or RGB or S-Video. Let's do something. Sorry to mislead you, I tried the Super Nintendo, the PAL console, with 3 different SCART cables and had worse results than with the Saturn, to the point where I'm now on the OG Xbox. I'll turn the volume down a bit. Yeah, so I've got OG Xbox PAL hooked up to the TV via SCART, but it's still got that dark appearance to it. All that's left now is PAL Composite and PAL S-Video to help work out what's going on. Could be the tube worn out, could be faulty circuit. At least we'll get a better idea when we go into Composite or S-Video. PAL, that's the last resort. It's a pity because I really want to see what this thing can do. Picture doesn't look too bad, but if it had that proper brightness to it, we could judge that accurately, or more so. Well, finally we've had a positive result. Still on the Xbox, OG Xbox, in plain old composite video. Picture is of the proper brightness now. Everything's normal. That means the tube's fine. It could be the circuitry in the SCART circuit that's problematic, causing the issues. Could also be my SCART cable setup, but to have tried that many different consoles and SCART cables, to have them all fail, I've never seen that happen before. I know you get TVs that are fussy with their SCART and they're picky on what signals are coming through, but I've never seen one this fussy before. So I think just put it at the TVs, lay the blame at its feet for the circuit fault. What about any of the viewers out there? Has anyone got this model of Sanyo? You know, when I picked this television up, it dawned on me that Sanyo is actually a brand. It's fairly common with SCART, I think I've got maybe 3 or 4 Sanyo videos on the channel that all have SCARTs built into them. So while Sanyo is not on the level of TX for plentifulness of SCARTs, it is somewhat common. It's certainly not a brand that has no SCARTs at all. So keep an eye out for your Sanyos, because they do have a few SCARTs here and there. When you're going for an old clunker like this, chances of it working, being worn out, etc. are higher than a more modern television. But I think this thing in RGB would actually look half reasonable, and I'm surprised the picture is actually as good as it is, considering that the snow looked pretty blurry around the edges. Anyhow, that's enough rambling from me. It's unfortunate, and I apologise I couldn't really exhibit the full capability of this television, but I'm glad that it's continued to work somewhat. It's actually stayed on and powered. So thank you for watching, and please, if you know anyone who's got this, or you've had an experience with this model, or you know any other Sanyo SCARTs, please let me know so I can chase them down and hopefully get them one day and do a video on the channel. So thanks for watching. Good time to end now on the silence.